Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Jim. Welcome to the latest in our series of free webinars from Catalyfe and SkillX OU, broadcasting live from Tallinn in Estonia. Namaste, hello. Also on screen, you can see Kyla Dagenais, who is our guest today, our guest speaker. Kyla is our star health and wellbeing coach and has been with us for about a year and a half now. Welcome back, Kyla. How are you today?
Thank you very much. I'm great. I'm excited to be here, excited to share with everyone.
Excellent. Well, we have a few people who are joining us live now. Guys, those of you who have just joined us live, might be nice if you could just drop in the chat where you're joining us from so we can see. We always like to see where our audience is. So be specific if you want. If you could let our audience know a bit about you and crucially, why the work that you do is so important, which will lead us into what we're doing today.
I have been a meditation and yoga instructor for 10 years. I am passionate about changing the plasticity of the mind. I brought it into my own life. I lost sight in my right eye, so learning to adapt to my new situation, I dove deep into neuroplasticity as well as the benefits of meditation. I've always been very inquisitive about the mind and the growth and development of the mind, and it all kind of came full circle in life for me, trying to understand my own self. It's been a beautiful journey.
I know you've had some challenges along this beautiful journey that you as you call it. I'd be interested to know what you're bringing to the table today, why we're talking about this idea of healthy transition from old year to new you.
Yes.
You yourself have made it. What transition have you made?
Oh, all sorts of transitions. I've made all sorts. I think life is just a continuous journey of transitions and growth. So I've used these techniques many times over my life to release old patterns, that eating patterns or addictions or or learning to navigate with one eye, the spatial awareness that is required with that. So I had to learn to identify what patterns that I was wanting to change. I had to look at myself and go inwards to see what I wanted to bloom into or what I wanted to grow into, and then take slow steps towards changing those patterns.
And you've done that extremely well, as I know. And if you were to take that ability to transit from one state to another and then condense it into like a 1 year time period, what we're looking at now is getting people to prepare for the transition into 2022. So what are we doing today? Why 2021 and why healthy transition?
We're taking a look at the patterns of our daily rituals that we use to create a space of security. This can start from morning coffee to taking a daily walk to dancing daily. And then we're going to roll forward to how the subconscious, because we've lived a life and we've set ourselves up to feel safe and secure. And once we start making these changes, we end up rolling into some sabotaging thoughts. The subconscious, like once we make the change, the subconscious will try to drag us back into what felt safe and familiar. And I feel like this is why New Year's resolutions are making the resolutions to change are not always successful. And we're looking at, I think 92% of New Year's resolutions fail because
Really?
expectations are high. We're really, with the mind, you want to be gentle and soft with it and perhaps point ourselves in a specific direction and move slowly towards it. So we're going to look at our patterns because they have served us. They might not serve us anymore and we might be ready to let go of it, but it takes a little bit to convince the subconscious mind to go along with our ideas. It's important to replace old rituals with new rituals to invite change and slowly move through it. And I've seen so many times within my clients that they'll start the change and everything will be ticking along good. They'll feel great. They'll come to yoga twice a week. They'll be feeling amazing. And all of a sudden they'll just stop. And I don't see them again until we're in the grocery store and they approach me with a bunch of guilt and shame attached. And they just said, I was feeling so good when I come to see you. It was just everything I wanted. But for whatever reason, they were unable to let go of the old ritual. So it's been fascinating over the years to watch.
You've used this word ritual a few times now, Kyla, and when I hear the word ritual, I instinctively think something attached to, for example, religion.
Yes. A ritual is something, I don't intend to mean it religiously here, but the commitment to your life, the commitment to changing your life, and a ritual will solidify and change the neural pathways. So it's very important that we practice, like we repeat the pattern, repeat the pattern, repeat the new pattern, repeat the new pattern, because that's how the old pattern became so important, as we repeated it and we repeated it and we repeated it till it was hardwired into ourselves. So by ritual, I mean, give it importance, give yourself the importance if it's a change you truly, truly want to make.
Okay. So can you think of another word maybe for ritual?
I want it to be deep.
Uh-huh.
I want it to be meaningful. And if the word is very small, but the devotion, another very religious context, and I mean in the form of commitment, to be devoted to the change, to be devoted to the person you wish to become, to grow towards a self that is of higher purpose, like of, where you can have a richness of your life, where life can become very rich and very substantial, and you don't have to have lots of money. You don't have to have, because you're working on yourself like an artist works on a painting. And an artist doesn't approach a painting. He kind of has an idea, like, I'm going to paint a meadow. But once you start painting, it starts to shape off the canvas. And it's all changed, and it appears in a different way sometimes. But the ritual of continuing to paint, or the ritual of continuing to work on yourself, is what brings the richness to life, I believe.
So I heard you mention that this is about devoting yourself to a commitment to become the person you want to be.
Yes.
So in the context of this year, then, I mean, it's like we're in December. We're on the winter solstice today.
Yes.
So from today, the nights get shorter again and the days get longer again in the northern hemisphere, at least. Hurrah!
Yes.
So shout out to the northern hemisphere posse. Yeah, days are going to get better. Guys in the south, sorry, it's your turn of 6 months. But so it has been for many of us, it would have been a long year, a lot of trials and tribulations, a lot of challenges along the way. And you talk about the old patterns may have served us. What do you mean by that they may have served us but no longer should? So what sort of things might we have picked up along the way in the year? Maybe use yourself as an example. So what have we been doing this year that we can understand, accept, and learn to let go of?
A pattern within myself, and I know you say health and wellness star coach, something within myself that I personally battle is smoking. Not a full-time smoker, but when I get to a point where I'm not feeling secure, or if I'm feeling afraid, or if I'm feeling, mostly afraid and insecure, that is where, even if I'm not smoking or if I choose not to buy any, that is where my mind goes. I will forever be a smoker, because when I'm feeling those emotions of being alone, being sad, being scared, I turn myself to this unhealthy pattern. And even if I choose not to engage with it, there still seems to be a desire that arrives, or this will make me feel better, but it's not who I want to be. So I need to turn myself into a direction that serves my purpose, that serves my body, that serves my life and how I want my life to be. And it's not addicted or intaking the chemicals, but that doesn't mean that draw is not there. So this year has been incredibly trying. It's been a very challenging year in my industry, especially in Canada with all the lockdowns. And
Mhm.
I've done battle within myself to stay on course, to stay pointed towards my higher being and where I want to go.
How have you been able to do that without punishing yourself or beating yourself up or being too critical?
I have compassion for myself. I know that the part of me that relies on that is a hurt little girl. She's a hurt little girl. And so instead of beating her, because that doesn't serve her at all, I offer her the love and compassion that she should have been offered in the first place.
Mhm.
I go with it tenderly, and I sit on my mat. My mat has been a refuge for me. It has been a space where I could truly be myself and hear the voice of my heart, because my mind screams. My mind screams and my heart whispers. And when I'm sitting on my mat, I'm able to come into my breath, into my body, and hear my heart. And then I can say to her, you know, you're beautiful, you're loved. It's okay. You know, you're going to be fine. You're strong. We got this. You know, it's okay. And instead of, oh, you're so bad, you know, you're a bad girl, you're a bad girl. And when I can hold her, when I can hold myself in love, it makes it a little bit easier to move through. Not that it isn't a challenge. My mind is powerful. My mind is so powerful, and my thoughts are extraordinarily powerful. So there is a time where I have to sit with myself and ask myself if I'm telling myself the truth, because I'll often lie to myself. I will tell myself all sorts of things to just want to go to that dark side and go buy a pack of cigarettes. But it's a conscious choice. It's a choice and a devotion to the life I want to leave. And that's where it comes higher. It comes higher than the hurt little girl when it's a devotion. It comes higher than simple wants and desires, because you can use all sorts of things to pacify yourself. Sex, you can use drugs, you can use shopping, gambling, drinking, smoking, you name it. However your dopamine arrives into your brain. And that's another thing that my mat offers me is serotonin. Dopamine is really easy to get. Chocolate, sugars, you know, all sorts of things creates dopamine in my mind. It's a real quick fix. And I
Mhm.
start to seek it out and just quick fix, quick fix. Where when I'm on my mat, I can cultivate serotonin, which is a more long lasting effect, but it is harder to achieve. You have to want serotonin in order to cultivate it. Very important to know that you cultivate the biochemical responses of your brain. You cultivate what arrives into your life through your actions and your thoughts. And that's what I mean to be devoted, because we're not going to get into how many lives we have, because that's a whole other webinar. But we are in this one, this very one right now. And how are we going to use it? How are we going to experience it? And how we choose to experience it is ours. It's mine, you know?
And at that point, that's beautiful. And at that point, I would like to invite people who are listening or watching live just to drop in the comments what kind of challenges you have been facing this year as well, what kind of behaviors you might want to let go. Before we get to that point, I have a quick challenge for you, Kyla. The dopamine versus serotonin argument. I've heard of this one before, and I've heard that there's so many quick fixes to get what we want, and we hide behind our rituals to get what we want to avoid confronting the healing that needs to happen. What about yoga mat junkies? How do you know when you're not depending on yoga, meditation, or breath work as a substitute for alcohol or cigarettes or whatever our short-term addiction is? Because there are people that get like fixated on the exercise or get fixated on the new ritual, which is replacing an old habit. How do you know the difference?
There's always going to be a pattern. I don't know if we can escape the mind's love of the pattern. I feel like, yes, don't allow it to consume you, because I understand what you're saying. I've met people that meditate so much they're not even on the planet, and it's really hard to hold a conversation. My personal approach to yoga is to create space within my physical body so it can be oxygenated and strong. What are you getting out of it? Are you getting out of it, oh, I'm superior because I go to yoga 4 times a week? Are you getting, what are you getting out of it? And when you can answer that honestly, then I mean, everybody gets something different, but it is not a space of superiority, because I've seen that as well. Like, people go and they're like, well, you're a smoker, so you're terrible, but I go to yoga 3 days a week. It's still not, that's not authentic, because when you sit on your mat, you're really just dealing with what's going on internally, not who you want to be externally. Like, it's pointing you in that direction, but you're not the person on the mat. That's not going to get you anywhere. Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you. It does. And I know you're going to be taking us through an exercise today, which will help us get clear on that point, will help us see the difference and help us get back into ourselves. And because one of the challenges you mentioned earlier, that's something like 88% or 92%, was it?
92.
92% of New Year's resolutions don't succeed. So that's one of the reasons why we're not doing this webinar on New Year. You don't need a special day. Any day is the day to start, right? So let's make today the start. I see a comment here from Abhishek from Estonia, actually. The challenge has been to get back to physical exercise. My body suffered a lot of injuries and later COVID. How to get fit again? Work and kids take away all the time. So one of the starting points then is to get grounded, right?
Yes.
Get grounded. Find room for your breath.
Yes. To carve out the time for you. And I know that sounds hard to do, but to really put up the boundaries that support what you truly desire. Because if you don't take it up, you're feeling like you need to become more physically active. Your children will benefit from you taking this time for you. The endorphins that come with exercise, or whatever exercise you choose. Maybe you can set something up in your house. Mm-hmm. Your surroundings benefit from you taking care of you. And that's the most important part. And that's why I mean devotion. And I have children. I'm a mother of 2. I have 2 teenage boys. So I understand what you mean by they take up so much time. But I want them to move through life to take what they need as well. So I show them what it is to take care of myself so I can better serve them without resentment or being exhausted. And start small. Maybe you just stretch out your neck, or maybe you choose 3 yoga poses and you only do 3 yoga poses in a day. That is such a small start, because we need to hold grace for ourselves and not fixate on the outcome of the change we want, but to take small steps towards it. And if you have a day where you lay on the couch and you eat potato chips, you can't beat yourself to death over it. You simply get up and you walk on the path again tomorrow, or the next day. Remember compassion and understanding for the self. Hold yourself in love.
Hold yourself in love. That's good advice. And you're about to show us, in just a couple of minutes, you'll be taking us through an exercise and exactly how to do that. Just picking up on a couple of comments here. Firstly, Britt, I believe that might be Britt Normett, who might be joining us, who is joining us next week for part 2 of this. Fantastic. She says that you've made a very good point. We are the example for our kids and how to survive in this life. And one more sharing is from Alison Folks in Trinidad, who normally joins us on Get Response, but I think is on Facebook today. Some challenges faced with consistency due to other factors competing for available time, but I'm recommitting to be steadfast this time round. And that's a really good point, Alison. Thank you as well. So Alison, Britt, and Abhishek, thank you for that, because one of the things that we targeted this webinar for is for those people who wish to make changes in 2021, but are stuck in the patterns that they've fallen into in 2021. Sorry, I meant 22, and then I'm stuck in 21. They want to move closer to their ideal self, and they have a problem starting a change, but struggle to stick with it. There's a lot of negative mind chatter getting in the way, and they want to reassure themselves. So Alison's offering a statement of reassurance. I'm committing to be steadfast this time around. Britt is making a reassurance. I'm an example for my children to follow. Abhishek is making a statement to reduce the negative mind chatter and to reassure himself that he wants to get back into physical exercise. Well, every journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. So today, I know you want to focus, Kyla, on getting us to understand and accept what have we been resisting letting go this year. What do we want not to carry into next? Maybe it's something you've carried in. This is a good point. Maybe it's something you carried in year after year after year after year. And this year is the year where you break it. And this prepares us for creating new habits later on. So could 2021 be your year of change? You have 10 years left.
I love that you said step on the journey. I often look at life as a hike. In Canada, we do a lot of hiking. And when we look back, sometimes maybe you had walked through a treacherous path and there was a river and you're trying to get through the river and it was a fail. And then you're on the journey again and you meet another river. And it's very important that you approach it with fresh eyes and know that you've learned along your way. So maybe you've tried to make these changes 10 times, 15 times, 50 times, that when you come to this crossing again, that you can approach it from a new perspective and it's not the same problem that you had. It's very important as we move into the meditation that we allow ourselves to be genuine in it, that we allow ourselves to see what surrounds us. Perhaps there's people in our life that may be taking too much. Maybe you're in a job that's taking too much. And to really sit with how you're truly feeling, because how you're feeling is not wrong. But once you know where you are, you can choose a path that suits you. You can choose a path or an approach that suits where you're at. And it's not definitive of who you are, because maybe you're trying for the 51st time and it doesn't work out. It's about the getting back up and the trying again. And that's where the richness comes in, because eventually you'll get it. Eventually you'll move into your new space if you can let go of what's holding you down. And I've used in class the metaphor of holding potatoes. Sometimes we're going on a hike and we picked up all these potatoes, which are problems, or and we get mad at someone, so we take a potato out of our pack and we whip it at it. There's absolutely no real nutritional value in potatoes, lots of starch. I mean, you can eat them and you won't starve to death, but they're heavy, they're hard to pack, and these potatoes are symbolic of the challenges we've faced and the ways of coping that we've picked up. And sometimes the potatoes, we just need to put them down. Just put down the potatoes. But we have to realize where we've picked them up, or that we don't want them in the first place. Maybe it's really heavy. Maybe it's really heavy and we need a break and we're just treading water, or we're trying to make it through a torrential river and we've got these potatoes on our back. It's scary making a new change. We don't know who we're going to be without our addictions. We don't know who we're going to be when we set boundaries. We don't know who we're going to be without our potatoes, because we're keeping them there to keep us safe so we don't starve to death. But if we can put the potatoes down and trust within ourselves that we will be able to find something to eat, that we don't have to carry the potatoes, we will be able to find our sustenance as a person with all this weight off of our backs. It's very liberating. But up until that point, we've carried those potatoes because we don't want to lose the sustenance of what they offer us, you know? But
it's like we don't want to let go of what our addictions and what our urges provide for us in the short term.
Dopamine. Woo! Dopamine.
So the reason I said that is because Ramesh has just typed something. And I think it sets this is a really nice segue point between where we are now, where we're going to next, and where we'll be by the end of our webinar today. Because you've got about a 20-minute meditation for us.
Yeah.
So leading up to that, Ramesh has asked an interesting question. How to say no to urges? It's a most common thing today that every adults face. So let's hold that in space. How to say no to urges? Because what I'm hearing you say, Kyla, is about learning to let go of the stuff, but you don't know what it is you need to let go of until you know. So my understanding is that what you're about to take us through will get us to a place where we can understand who can we be without all this stuff. What's holding us back? What's been draining us physically, mentally, emotionally? Where's the pain? Is it in friendship? Is it in relationship? Is it a bad career choice? A toxic environment of any kind holds poison that we can let go of.
That's right. That is a great question. And I'm always cautious with meditation that it's not a one-time cure either. You may have to sit with this a few times in order to understand fully why you have this urge. And it's about self-discovery. I have lots of people that come into my office and they want me to tell them what's wrong. And through talking, we can get a little bit closer. But at the end of the day, it's them that holds the answers. And they have to be able to sit still enough within themselves.
Good. Let's do that now then. Let's do some stillness. Ramesh, I know you've asked a question. I know you haven't got a full answer yet, but I want to keep that question hanging in the air, and then we'll revisit it after Kyla has finished her meditation. And anyone else watching, feel free to drop a question at any time. We will have a Q&A at the end. But I think this is a really good point for us to move into the actual practice of what you want to take us. I'm ready. Bring it on. Let's go.
Bring it on. What I would like to do is to start by stretching out our necks. Okay. And the reason that I would like to do this is that when we're tense, we shrug up our shoulders, and what happens is the muscles of our neck area restricts blood flow to the brain, which decreases oxygenation and keeps our neurons firing at a very high rate. Mm-hmm. Coming into our body is where we store our emotions, and Britt's going to cover this brilliantly in the next webinar.
She is.
To be able to come into our bodies, and where we hold our tension tells a very beautiful story of where we hold our tension in our mind. And also, if we can release the tension of our mind, we can release the tension in our body, which increases our energy and allows us to move a little deeper on the path. So we're going to start here. If you're in a seated position, I ask that you come to the very edge of your chair so the spine can be elongated. Hands to your knees. I'll give you a second.
There.
We're going to close our eyes. And as you inhale, draw your inhalation through the nostrils. Inhale through your nostrils and observe the sensation of the breath as it arrives through the nostrils and washes over your mind. As you exhale, maybe you start to feel some energy at the heart. As you exhale, you can release through the mouth. We'll just take 3 deep breaths, releasing through the mouth. Inhale into the chest. Feel the breath's arrival. And as you exhale, let it go through the mouth. One more. Nice big deep breath. And let it go. Take a deep breath into your chest. And as you exhale, slowly release the chin to your chest. Let's bring the head forward, chin to your chest. Let your shoulders come away from the ears. And as you breathe, draw the breath deep into the rib cage. And see if you could deepen the stretch to the back of the shoulders and the neck. With the exhalation, let the forehead sink. 2 more. Deep breaths to the side of the neck, or to the back of the neck. And let the tongue rest into your teeth. Let the forehead sink. Well done. Beautiful breath work. 1 more. Nice big deep breath. And surrender. Now with the inhalation, fill up the chest, draw it deep into the neck. As you exhale, bring the right ear to the right shoulder. Let your elbows become heavy and your jaw become loose. As you inhale, draw the breath deep into the side of the neck. And as you exhale, relax your face and your shoulders. We're going to go real slow. Inhale into the neck. As you exhale, chin comes across the chest. Bring the left ear to the left shoulder. Go slow. Pace your movement with your breath. Let your elbows become heavy. And as you inhale, draw the breath deep into the neck. And with the exhalation, soften into your body. Let the shoulders get heavy, the face relaxes. Into the neck with the inhalation, big wide ribs. As you exhale, right ear to the right shoulder, feel the motion of your neck. When you arrive, let the shoulders relax away, and then breathe deeply into your chest. Go real slow. And surrender into your body. Let the shoulders sink. Let the jaw become loose. A couple more. Deep breath into the neck. With the exhalation, we're going to come on over to the other side. Left ear to the left shoulder. Relax your shoulders. There you go. Exhale in. As you inhale, bring the breath into the neck. And then relax. 1 more nice big deep breath. And come on over to the right hand side. Relax. Breathe into your neck. And soften your jaw, soften your shoulders, let it go. Last round, inhale into the neck. And with the exhalation, left ear to the left shoulder. Let the elbows become heavy, breathe deep. And sink in, let your shoulders become loose, let your jaw become soft, let it go. We're going to take 1 more breath into the neck. And we're going to meet at center with the exhalation. Go slow to center. Take your time with the exhalation. Come on down. Let your elbows be heavy. And as you breathe, it's deep into the rib cage. Massaging your thyroid gland as you exhale, the forehead sink. 1 more nice big deep breath. And relax. With your next inhalation, peel your chin from your chest and raise your crown to the ceiling. Breathe deep like royalty. And as you exhale, let your shoulders surrender. Relax your buttocks. Relax your feet. Breathe deep into your heart. Just a quick little exercise to prepare for meditation to release the neck. If you choose at this point in time that sitting is uncomfortable for you, I invite you to lay on the floor or on your couch. You can raise the head a little bit off the floor. We're looking to allow the thoughts to flow, to not be stuck on an outcome, but to allow the subconscious mind or the space of observer to offer us information. Quite often, the response will be in our body. So we have to be able to be aware of our body in the space of meditation to feel. So if you'd like to prepare yourself for meditation, lay yourself on the floor. Sit nice and tall in your chair if you're in a chair, feet flat to the floor. If you're on your back, you can lay flat on your back, or you can have your knees bent. The illusion in yoga that we achieve perfection is an illusion. What we're looking for is to allow for a space of flow within ourselves, to not force. Letting go of a precise outcome, we sit within ourselves in this present moment, wherever we are on the path, to not judge it, but to understand that we have the capacity to create and change, to understand that we have the capacity to cultivate a life of richness, of love, of compassion. If you're in your position, I ask you to soften into your body, to allow the tongue to be loose in your mouth, the jaw to be soft. Let the shoulders relax into the earth. If you're seated, we would like to be strong and soft, not rigid. The softer we can become, the slower we can breathe, the more time we have to cultivate the life of our dreams. Soften into the buttocks. Soften into the legs. And soften into the feet. We're going to continue to go deeper. As you inhale, let the breath create internal space. Feel the draw of the cool inhalation through your nostrils. See if you can follow that sensation as it passes over your mind. Become the observer of your breath. Observe what it feels like to breathe into your body. And soften with the exhalation. Let it relax you. And we're mindful to see if we can observe the breath's arrival a little deeper. Can you feel it pass your nostrils, wash over your mind, and arrive cool into your throat? As you exhale, soften into your body. Relax your body. Relax your mind. With the inhalation, see if you can observe the cool breath pass your nostrils, wash over your mind, cool into the throat and into your heart. There's a brief moment when the breath arrives into the chest. You can feel the cool air surrounding your heart into the lungs. As you exhale, relax your shoulders a little further. Relax your buttocks. Do not allow the mind to be judgmental. If there's sounds that surround you, simply observe the sounds. And feel the breath. Breath is life. Feel the breath drawn into your chest. And surrender to the exhalation. Let your shoulders soften along a strong spine if you're seated. Let your shoulders sink into the earth if you're laying. Keep breathing deep into the chest and soften. I ask you to visualize in your mind the space in which you wish to become. Allow it to arrive however it arrives. Do not force the thoughts. Simply visualize who you wish to become. Feel your breath. And allow it to arrive. As you sit seated with your soul, with yourself, you may ask, how will I get there? What is holding me back? Let your body relax into it. What excuses are we telling ourselves that we cannot have what we truly desire? Your body may resist these thoughts. Allow your body to soften, allow it to move through you. Soften your shoulders, your back, your buttocks, your legs. Allow yourself to sit with the information you receive, to what you need to gain courage to release, to step away from. Feel your breath. I ask you to return your attention back to your desires, as the path of life is where we're going, not where we've been. Allow yourself to visualize what it is you truly desire, beyond doubt, beyond fear. Allow yourself to feel what it would be like to achieve your goal. Allow yourself to feel it deeply, as though it's already arrived. Breathe into this sensation. Draw your breath into this feeling. And as you exhale, let go of any physical resistance in the body. Let yourself sink into the sensation of what it is you truly desire. Allow it to be deep within you, throughout all of you, no resistance. Feel what it is like to have what you truly desire. Follow your breath into your body. Feel the expansion. And as you exhale, relax into this feeling. Relax into the sensation. as though it's already arrived. Just a few more breaths here. Stay with it. If the mind begins to wander, return to the body. Return to the sensation of your breath, as it is the breath that breathes life into our goals. It allows us the time to achieve as we wish in this life. Breathe into it slowly, deeply, richly. Allow it to fill your body. And relax into your desires beyond doubt, beyond fear. Relax in as though it's already arrived. We will begin to return to the space. Take your time. Allow yourself the opportunity to take that feeling with you, as how we feel about life draws us closer to what we truly desire. So as you begin to return to the space, as you begin to return to this present moment, take that feeling with you as you go. You can bring gentle motion to your fingers and toes as you awaken the body. Allow yourself grace. Thank you, body, for allowing me the opportunity another day to move towards my higher purpose, to move towards the life I desire. Thank you, body, for breathing, for digesting my food. Thank your body. It is an incredible organism. Thank you, body. If you're on your back, you can kind of slowly roll over to your side, prepare yourself to sit. If you're seated in the chair, you can open your eyes. Take a moment. Maybe if you have some pen and a paper, you can write down so you can remember. Sometimes in the busyness of life, we forget what it is we truly desire. Welcome back.
A couple of comments already there, Kyla. Thank you. Britt says this feels so good, and Alison says so very relaxing. That's great. Feel free to write your questions or your observations or your comments. We have a Q&A coming up, but let us know how you're feeling. Ramesh, do you have an answer to your own question? If you do, I'd love to hear it. And in the meantime, while we're waiting, Kyla, thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
It's always difficult to come out of these spaces and realize, oh, we've still got 15 minutes to actually work. And all I want to do is just to lie back and just keep writing. But I understand. Yeah, Ramesh says, yeah, feeling so great. Excellent. So good. Ramesh says, thank you. You're welcome. The point of that, well, I really, my mind came to life when you said, visualize yourself in the space that you've already got where you want to get to.
That's right.
And that really helped me see what my patterns were this year. And there's no coincidences in life. I believe that. I don't believe in coincidence. I think I saw some graffiti once in Ljubljana in Slovenia, which said, coincidence is God's way of saying anonymous, which really tickled me. But, there's no coincidences. Today on the Karmic Realms news website, My Daily Shaman is about the second part of saying no. It's a two-parter. This is a two-parter. This is a two-parter about saying yes. And in the second part of my learning to say no, I realized that saying no to something that doesn't serve you is saying yes to yourself.
Yeah, that gave me shivers. Yeah, that is so
Yeah.
true.
So one of the things I'm going to take into Brit's session next week, thanks to your session here, is being more prepared to say no to the things that hold me back or the things that don't serve me and don't help me fulfill my mission. Learn to say no to that stuff. So
Yes.
Ramesh, say no to your urges.
Yes.
If they don't serve you. Say no, say yes to the ones that do. Say
That's
no
right.
to the ones that don't.
Lovingly.
Lovingly, yeah.
Lovingly.
No doesn't have to be no. No
Yeah.
can be no and.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. I can't. I'm sorry. There was a meditation that I did was very similar to this, in which I came to the first time in my life I truly felt abandoned. And there's this little Kyla, and she was crying and she was upset at the situation she had arrived to, which was a real situation in my childhood.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like there was no one there for me. So in the meditation, I went up and I picked up little Kyla, like I would pick up my sons, or I would pick up any little person that was having a challenging time, and I just held her and I rubbed her back and I was like, I got you, and we're going to be fine. We're going to be fine, because I was scared of moving forward into my better self. I didn't want to be abandoned. There's a part of us that are afraid that we're going to be ousted from our tribe if we truly take the space we know we can hold. And I feel like I've felt that, holding myself back from being everything I've wanted to be. And I mean, you've worked with me for a year and a half, and we've been very honest with each other in that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's those self-sabotaging thoughts that keep me in that hurt child space. So sit with it longer if you need to, and don't scream at the baby, don't scream at your younger self, because we are all learning.
Right.
We're taught that we're supposed to know exactly what to do. We're supposed to follow this very particular pattern in life. You go to school, you graduate, you go to university, you get married, you buy a house. This is how you are successful in life. And I mean, I know a couple people that's worked out for, but for most of us, there's been hills and gaps in the valleys of our hike, and it didn't run that smoothly. So to remember to hold grace for your being, hold grace for yourself.
It's very true. And Ramesh has reminded us that sometimes we have to give permission to be human.
Yeah.
Ramesh, I assume I'm going to make an assumption here. Please tell me if I'm wrong. But I assume you mean that sometimes you have to give yourself permission to be your own human. Is that right? Are you giving yourself permission to remember to be human here? Because that would tie in nicely with Kyla's point about embracing this inner child of yours, or embracing whichever inner side of your personality is screaming for attention. Don't turn around and say, shut up. Listen, because they're giving you a message. And there's an interesting thought that you made me realize earlier, Kyla, when you were talking just now, was the negative self chatter, the sabotaging thoughts. Yes, the sabotaging thought, but I don't deserve this.
Yeah.
Yes, you do.
Or mom guilt's huge.
Oh, wow.
I'm always feeling guilty about something when it comes to being a mom. And yeah, guilt and shame often come up in my practice, and we hold on to guilt and shame. It pulls us back into the patterns that we wish to let go of.
And any mothers watching, feel free to share your experience of that. Kyla, thank you. Just going to wait for a few people to give space for anybody who wants to type anything or ask any questions. So this isn't the full webinar. There's another bit to it. What happens next? I'm looking forward to saying no more often. A healthy no. That's what I'm taking away from this. Where is my healthy no, and giving it space to be heard? So that's like
permission. Yeah.
permission. As Ramesh says, permission.
Yeah,
I'm going to
that was
give
beautiful,
myself,
Ramesh.
give yourself permission to say no to something that doesn't work for you.
If it makes you feel off, remember your body will tell you. You just take a few breaths into your body, even if you're wavering in it, to sit with it in your body. And if your body's going, it's okay to say no. It's okay.
So what happens next? What do we do next with this, Kyla? Because I know there's a part 2. So and this is all about transition. So how do we transit into part 2? And what's your journey? Because I know you want to take part in part 2. So what's your journey?
I'm very much looking forward to Brit's webinar, and it's nice to pass everyone along to her extraordinarily capable hands to go a little bit deeper in learning about your body, intention, and emotions, and to put it into action, because we can have all the ideas we want, but the real test of our conviction is putting it into action. And I'm very much looking forward to attending Brit's seminar to move forward for that for myself.
Are you attached to the outcome?
No.
Why not?
Life has taken me on so many beautiful adventures I couldn't even imagine. And to allow what arrives on my path, but to have an open heart, to allow whatever arrives on my path to be there, and to have the self-confidence and courage to know that I can navigate it in peace and compassion, and to walk gently in this life. I am 20 years a cancer patient, and it has been an incredible gift to be 40 years old and to have acquired the wisdom that I have today. Without time, there'd be no wisdom. So all the new experiences that I've been gifted, and the characters that I've met on my path that have enlightened me and have brought me deeper within myself. Beautiful.
So what's the invitation to everybody who's been participating now, whether they've been watching live or whether they're watching the recording later? What would you invite them to do with this experience that you have guided us through?
To revisit it if you need to, to go deeper if you need to find that stillness within yourself that holds the keys to your desires, to go to Brit's webinar and to continue to learn and grow and experience, because the more experiences you collect, the deeper and the richer it is. And I've always said that, like in my classrooms, maybe I'm not your cup of tea. And, yoga teachers are like ice cream flavors, and maybe I'm maple walnut because I'm Canadian. Maybe you need mint chocolate chip. But we will never know unless we're out there experiencing it and trying it. Like, just try to be that person you wish to become in the most simplest capacity that you can.
So how likely is it that if you repeat this exercise, you'll get a different ice cream flavor?
I don't know. I think the desires of the heart just kind of come a little bit clearer, or when you go to Brit's, she's going to offer you something that perhaps we're saying the very same thing, but for whatever reason, she delivers it in a way that is an aha moment for you in your life. It's just a different communication, a different vibration, but still from a deep space of heart and love to the people we serve,
Starting with ourselves.
Starting with ourselves. I'm useless without taking care of myself,
Well,
like it's everything I can offer to others, everything that I offer myself. And that's it.
Well, there's an opportunity to learn better how to serve yourself in next week's session.
I'm looking forward to it.
Just before we get there, I asked Ramesh a checking question. Presumably you mean giving permission to yourself. Ramesh has replied yes. Example, if you want to cry, just cry. Give yourself permission to be human. The key is resilience. Brilliant. Okay. Wow. So this is part one. I'm going to repeat this exercise later without having to have the focus on the actual experience of the exercise. And I guess you're going to do the same as well, because you want to take your own experience into next week's session. And I want to take my experience into next week's session. And Britt has been here observing this week's session. So that's a great thing. As ever, my advice to anybody watching, listening, is to take care of yourself, love yourself, stay healthy, stay sane. But before we close, I always want to give the last word, the last key word to our presenter. Kyla, it's always a privilege and a pleasure to have you here. You're a wonderful, wonderful trainer, coach. It's a pleasure to have you on the Catalyfe platform. By the way, people watching, you can see my colleague Erica has just placed all the methods of following us. Thank you for joining us today. If it was your first time joining a Catalyfe event, then we look forward to welcoming you back. Please give us feedback as well. hello@catalyfe.com. Kyla has much more in her portfolio that she can give us. So she's working on courses for us, which is going to be fantastic. Healing from heartache, I think, is one that we're going to be looking at.
Yes.
So it all feeds in. Everything links. And speaking of links, I know I'm kind of over talking my part here. So Kyla, what message would you like to leave with us today as people are winding up their experience? And Abhishek is saying thank you, many thanks, in 2 languages, actually. That's very nice. Thank you very much for that. So what message would you like to leave with us today? It was Hindi. So I think that's Shukran or Dhanyavad, one of the two. So Kyla, what's your final message?
I was kind of right on par. I wrote it last night. And what I'd like you to offer is yourself is be kind and compassionate to yourself, so we have peace to offer others. I feel like it is peace that the world needs now, and that starts with each of us as an individual. So if we can find peace within ourselves, we can offer it to a planet and remember that we are brethren and that we are here for each other. But first, we must deal with ourselves.
Find peace within yourself. Say it again.
Be kind and compassionate with yourself, so we have peace to offer others. I feel like it is this that the world needs, but it must start first with the individual.
Powerful message. Thank you, Kyla. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And Abhishek has confirmed that it is Dhanyavad, so Dhanyavad. And I will leave you now and to say a huge heartfelt thanks. However you choose to celebrate this time of year, whatever your religious or non-religious convictions are, spend time with your friends and family when you can, where you can. If you're on your own, remember, you're not alone. We are with you. So someone is just typing something. I don't want to end without seeing what that person is typing. Kyla, how will you spend your holiday season?
With my children and with my family. Right now, my house is flooded, so I don't typically appear from this office. I'm waiting for the restorations in my house to be finished. I've been welcomed into my best friend's home. It has been a beautiful, humbling experience, and I will share it with those I love, because it's my minutes that count. It's my time with those I love, and that give me the drive to move forward, to do better.
Beautifully expressed. Thank you. And Alison Folks has left you with a message. Happy holiday to all. Please be safe. I'll echo that. Be safe, be healthy, stay sane.
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.